Hey, and welcome back to Everything Reselling, the place where you can successfully talk trash about every selling platform and still possibly make a sale tomorrow. I'm your host, Glam, and today we're going to talk about all the platforms: Poshmark, Macari, eBay, Depop, Grilled, Kurtzy, Whatnot, Facebook Marketplace, the good, the bad, and the straight up ugly. So you guys ready? Let's dive in. So let's first start off with the platforms and themselves, and the good, the bad, and the straight up ugly. So first off, we've got eBay, the OG. It's been around since the early 2000s, late 90s. And guess what? It is one of the top rated platforms out there. Everybody knows about eBay. Everybody's heard about eBay. Everybody pretty much knows that they can possibly find it on eBay. They have made an engraving impression forever, but there's so much good about it, but there's so much more bad about eBay. So first off, with the good, eBay, like I said, definitely has the marketplace. You can sell internationally. You can pretty much find everything you want on eBay. It has all categories. It has no weight restrictions. It also has promoted listings where you can pay more to promote your listings. That's all the good, right? Now let's get into the ugly, because it is straight up ugly. You've got the algorithm that is definitely dramatized over there like crazy. You have got the paid promotions that are going all wonky. You have the heavy fees. You literally can only, when you start out and you're able to list, you're only able to list 100 at a time for free. Then you have to pay for a store subscription that you then, like I said, have to pay monthly for, or yearly, depending on how you decide to do it, on top of the fees. It's not like the fees get erased. They get dropped down a little bit, but they don't get erased. So you still have a restriction fee. So the restriction fee could be like you're allowed to maybe sell 200 items or list 200 items, and then you have to ask them to request a higher limit, blah, blah, blah. They're very strict on all of that type of thing. Then, not only to mention the returns, right? The horrible, dreadful returns. Let us be honest about the returns. They suck. It is computerized over there. Even if you have a non-refund policy, non-return, non-refund, you're not getting your money back. Straight up, this is the item. eBay doesn't care. They are going to do exactly what they want to do when they want to do it. And if they want the person to literally sit there and say, oh no, you are going to take this return, you're going to take the return if you like it or not. That's just how it is. Not only that, they can play with your money. Let's be honest, let's be real, they can. Sometimes you could get your money within the next day, sometimes it could be 30 days, sometimes it could be 2 weeks, or sometimes you may not even get your money at all. It all depends, because you're on eBay's pay to play. And I say it that way because literally is that eBay literally makes it so you pay to play. If they decide you don't want to be there, you're not going to be there. If they decide they don't want to pay you, you're not going to get paid. And there's nothing you can do about it. So that is all the straight up ugly on eBay. Now let's move to Poshmark. Poshmark is probably one of the most controversial sites out there. You can talk to probably 100 people, and 50 of them will love it and praise Poshmark, and 50 of them will hate Poshmark and tell you why they hate it. So let's get to the realization of what Poshmark truly is. Poshmark has a lot of categories. True enough, they have women's, they have men's, they have kids, they have electronics, and they have home. They do not allow some items. That's what they say anyways. Let's be honest, you could search and you could find Jeeps on Poshmark, or you could find tires on Poshmark. Even though they are not technically allowed to be listed, they are straight up listed there. You also have live selling on Poshmark, which that's another controversial thing with people. Some people love live selling, some people hate live selling. So again, you have that. So this one is a little bit more kind of 50-50, because you have some great things about Poshmark and you have some horrible things about Poshmark. Also, their promoted closet listings, they suck. It's pay per click, not pay to play. And what I mean by pay to play is if that item sells, you're going to pay for it. Not Poshmark. Poshmark is just straight up, you're going to pay no matter what. If that item sells or not, if someone clicks on it, you are paying for that item. which, let's be honest, that really sucks. Then you also have the fees. Poshmark has two different types of fees if you want to get technical. They have the 20% fee that comes off the top of anything that's $15 or more. If it's under $15, you're going to pay $2.95. That's why I say they have the two fees, because at $15, you're then at 20%. If it is $14, you're going to pay $2.95. So it all kind of depends. Then they also have the shipping. The shipping on Poshmark is insanely simple and easy. Here you go. You ready? You sell a pair of jeans, it's $8.25. If you sell a pair of earrings, it's $8.25. No matter what the weight is, as long as it is 5 pounds and under, you're going to pay $8.27. That is what it is. I think it's a 27. Let me correct myself. It is $8.27. No matter what, as long as it's 5 pounds and under. Once you hit that 5 pounds and over mark, you have to pay an additional amount for what they call a extended heavier label, and that is at their discretion. So it could be an additional $13. It could be an additional $6. Always, when it comes to Poshmark, scan your items and have them weighed, because Poshmark has been known to message you saying, oh, this item is over 5 pounds. And if you have proof, you're okay. If you don't have any proof, it's your word against Poshmark and the UPS down the line. So if you literally have it weighed at the UPS, have your items scanned and weighed at UPS, when you drop them off, you have a receipt and you have a copy, and you can prove that the item was actually that much at weight. Because, let's be honest, UPS scales aren't always spot on. So, and when it comes to listing, it is super simple and easy to list on Poshmark compared to eBay. eBay is the longest, most exhaustingest listing process there is compared to all the platforms. On the scale of easy listing, you have Poshmark. eBay is definitely the hardest. So you got Poshmark, Macari, Depop, and Kurtzy are probably the more easiest ones, and then eBay is definitely the hardest, where no one even comes remotely close to touching eBay on the hardness level. So there is that. Then you have Macari. Let's get started talking about Macari. Macari has had its issues. Macari is definitely a littler version of eBay. And the reason why I say that is because you can literally sell on every platform. And honestly, if Poshmark and eBay had a baby, it would probably be Macari and Depop. They would have twins, and it would be Macari and Depop. And here's why. Because the listing style is basically the same of Poshmark, except for the shipping. The shipping then kind of goes towards the eBay side, where you can do it by weight. But the weight is in between Poshmark and eBay. And I say that because, yes, you can't go over 10 pounds, so there's where the Poshmark comes into play, but you also have to weigh your items, which is where eBay comes into play, because you have to weigh your items on eBay. You also have more shipping options, where Poshmark is just the priority mail. On Macari, you have USPS, you have FedEx, and you have UPS. So you have different shipping carriers you can go through. There again, it's going to be based on the price, because they automatically have the pricing if you use their label. Now, here's the main thing on all the platforms. If you use their label, you're protected by them. If you use your own label, you are not protected by them. And what I mean by that is, if your package happens to get lost, destroyed, damaged, you are not covered by the platforms to still get your money. You are out the money. If it gets a return also and it gets lost in the mail, you are still covered. So always use their labels. It is so much better than trying to pay for your own label. Even if you think you're going to save a couple bucks in the long run, you're not. So that's how Macari works, right? Pretty simple to list like Poshmark. The promoting, though, is a lot different. So there kind of deviates from Poshmark and eBay. Then Depop, the other twin. And I say that because, there again, the listing fees are super, super simple. There are no fees unless you do promoted closet, and the other one, or I'm sorry, not promoted closet, it's called Boost. And the other way is by the percentage of the pay. Oh, that is what I forgot to talk about on Poshmark. Hold on, going back. Poshmark, you get paid when someone rates your item or within 3 days. And that's also their available return window is 3 days. So once that item closes and you get paid for it, they can no longer return it or anything. So that is awesome. They used to have it too where when you did a return, an automatic person from Poshmark actually reviewed your case. I don't know if that's still true or not. I've heard mixed things, and Poshmark's not very open and honest about how they do things. So we're going to go with you might have a real person and you might have a bot, depending on the situation. Now, Macari and getting paid, same thing. You have to be rated first. So when the person rates you, they have 3 days also. So they have the 3 days to rate you. If not, it automatically releases. So Poshmark and eBay are, Poshmark and Macari are definitely the same thing. You have the 3-day window and then the money gets released to you. Now here's where all the payments kind of get different. You have on the payment scale, like I said, eBay, you're going to automatically, you can set it up so you get paid into your bank account. And you can have it set up daily where it automatically does daily. You can have it weekly. You can kind of set your parameters a little bit differently with eBay. Now, Poshmark is straight up, it goes into what is like their little holding thing as soon as it releases, and you have to deposit it. You have options. You have check. You have where they'll send you a check, which I don't know anybody who does that. You have put it on a credit card, which I think costs you about $3. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't remember because I've never used that one. I think I've only done it one time because I needed the money and I was like very happy that they have that option. Let's see. Yeah, I can't tell. So, and then you have the Venmo version, which is 35 cents, which you can get it within, I think it's like 30 minutes. And then you have the actual bank deposit where you have it set up to your bank account. And then as soon as you hit that, it deposits, it starts the deposit process. It can take anywhere from the same day to 4 days, depending on your bank and how long Poshmark takes. And if there's a holiday in between there, or if it's the weekend and whatnot. So basically, if you normally get your payments daily and you decide to do it on a Friday, you most likely won't get it until Monday. Just saying. Now, Macari, even though it's 3 days, you still then have to transfer it. You can either do the 3-minute or up to 30 minutes, which costs you $3, or you can do the deposit that's free, which is into your bank account, which can take up to 2 to 5 days. Macari is probably the longest one to get paid from because it does take forever. So that is what you're waiting for on Macari. Again, you have a lot more options of where you can sell. It is not an international platform also. So Poshmark and Macari are definitely the same on that. You can only sell within the US. So you have that option. There is like little to no fees on Macari, but you don't have as much traffic on Macari. Then you have Depop. Depop, the twin. The twin that definitely is known for ghosting on offers. Offers are binding on Poshmark and Macari, not on eBay either. See, that's the crazy thing. Someone can send you an offer on eBay and they don't have to pay for it. Unless they've changed that rule. But same thing on Depop. They can literally send you an offer and it is not binding. The person could not pay for it and most likely will not. So if you get an offer on Depop, don't get super excited because the chances of them paying for it are little to none because they are not binding and they have not put their card information in. Now, Poshmark, when you get an offer, you are guaranteed that sale. Same thing with Macari. As long as their card goes through, which, let's be honest, there are some people that do shop that their cards don't go through. But most of the time, you're pretty well off. Now, with that being said on Depop, it is definitely more of a niche type of thing. If you're more into Gothic, Y2K, vintage, you're going to do very, very well on Depop. It's more Gen Z and more trendy than all the other ones are. They have all kinds of different programs, and the best part about Depop is that there is only the processing fee that you get charged, which is like 2.9%, unless you do boosts. If you boost your item, then when the item sells, you will pay for that boost. So it could be $8, it could be $2. It all depends on how much you sell it for and how much the boost was paid for. So there's that. which is also really, really great. Then you have the shipping sizes. Everything is done at 4 ounces or below, 8 ounces or below, 1 pound or below, or 2 pounds and below. And then I think there's one more that's like 5 pounds and below. So you have those options where, as long as you know, like if you know a t-shirt is not going to be over 8 ounces, you can pick 8 ounce and it'll literally put in the price for it. You can international ship on Depop, which is better than the other two, but let's be honest, the international shipping label is hugely expensive on Depop. So you might as well consider it not international shipping, because it's like $39.99 is like the minimum for an international label on Depop. Depop is definitely different when it comes to getting paid. Once the item is delivered, you get paid for it. Now, they also are just like eBay on that they have 30 days to complain about the item, which makes absolutely no sense to me why you get paid. But then they have up to 30 days, but whatever, I didn't make the rules. I'm just telling you what they are. So there's Depop. Then you have Grilled. Grilled is more of a fashion hyper beast. You have to think streetwear, designer, limited releases, high-end brands, and the buyers are very, very picky and they're slow, and there's so much more scamming on Grilled than there is anything else. And it is super easy to list on it. Well, not so much anymore, because now they've made this stupid code thing where you literally have to know the code of the country it was in, like if it was made in China or the US, and you have to be able to put that in. So yeah, it's not as easy. It's kind of annoying. I don't know why they want to know that, but they do. So whatever on that. Again, it's more scam than it is anything else. I don't remember how fast you get paid on Grilled, because honestly, I think in my whole time of being on Grilled, I've sold like maybe 4 or 5 items on Grilled, and that's it. Grilled is not one of my favorite platforms. Then you have Kurtzy. Kurtzy is probably one of the easiest platforms to cross-list to, because it literally links up to your Poshmark closet. So if you list an item on Poshmark, it's going to list on Kurtzy. If it sells on Poshmark, it's going to delist on Kurtzy. The only problem is if you sell on Kurtzy, it's not going to delist on Poshmark, so you have to go in and delist it on Poshmark yourself. So if you have an Apple phone, I strongly recommend that being one of the first ones that you cross-list to, because you don't have to do anything with it. The other cool thing I forgot to mention about Macari is that they do have a cross-lister in their platform. So you could literally do, say, eBay and cross-list to Macari for free, because they have a cross-lister that pulls from your eBay and it pulls from your Poshmark. I think it pulls from your Depop too. I'm not 100% on that, but I know for sure it does for Poshmark and eBay. So those are awesome on that. Then Whatnot. Whatnot is the live mega beast. Everybody knows Whatnot for doing live selling, and that's pretty much all that they know about it, besides anything else that they have read, but mostly that it's a live selling platform. So you have the live selling platform of Whatnot. You also can list your items in like a closet style, but they're going to say, I'm not saying you're not going to make any sales. Please don't be like, oh no, you're wrong. No, I'm saying they're going to sit, because a lot of people don't shop that way on Whatnot. They shop the actual shows. Doing a show, you have to have a following over there, or else you have to start off really, really cheap and hope to build. It is extremely hard to build on Whatnot. I don't care what anybody says. You can try it as much as you want, and some people just don't make it, and some people make an amazing and do amazing job over there. Whatnot is its own little beast, and you can pay also to boost your shows. You can pay to boost the entire show, a couple minutes of your show to certain audiences, all kinds of different things. There's a lot of, and you can also cross promote your shows on Twitch and YouTube. So you can go live on both, so it's automatically uploading, where Poshmark, when you do a live sell, you're only streaming to Poshmark. Hopefully they integrate more and they start seeing that, especially since they started integrating with Facebook. Maybe they'll integrate where you can, when you're live selling on Facebook also. I don't know. That's just what I would think would be awesome. Let's be honest. If you want to pull people from other platforms because they're on the social medias, let's start connecting these platforms to them. That's just my thoughts. That's just my little rant on that little thing right there. But there you go. You also need to be a fast shipper on there. People definitely expect their items fast, quick, and cheap on Whatnot. So there's what Whatnot is. Then you also have Facebook Marketplace. There's no fees, but let's be honest, it's more for local flips and big items. And there's a lot of scams. And there's a lot of ghosting over there, which is normal. So, you can test with Facebook Marketplace, whatever. Why you shouldn't do all in one. So why you shouldn't just list on eBay, or why you shouldn't just list on Poshmark or Macari, is because, let's be honest, the algorithm's always changing. The platforms own the customer. You don't own the customer, the platforms do. So they can change it any way they want. They can do new terms and conditions, and you're stuck. So why not be building your audience inside the platform and outside of the platform all at the same time? So why not cross market? Why not cross promote? Why not cross list onto other platforms? Because of the $29, that's pretty much the majority of the cross listers are about $29.99. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are a little bit cheaper, but the mid-range is about $29.99. Yes, that is a lot when you're first starting out. That's why I suggested pick one platform. And you can also use, like I said, Macari. So you could do eBay and Macari, or do Poshmark, Macari, and Kurtzy. Me personally, I would do Poshmark and Kurtzy and maybe Macari. I don't really like eBay. eBay kind of sucks, but yes, there are the majority of the people there. But that's all up to you. Platforms change their policies. You run into glitches. Your income is not your income until it is deposited. So if something happens, you lose your income because they have control over your money. All the platforms have control over your money. So later on, we are going to talk about all the different websites besides Shopify. Everybody knows about Shopify. We're going to talk about everything but Shopify, because Shopify is very, very expensive. So if you're just starting out and you want to get your own website, you got to have other options. So we're going to dive more into that in further episodes. And let's see, my whole strategy is cross list everywhere. If it is allowed to be sold on that platform, it is going up on each platform, because of the fact that there are different buyers on every single platform. Not just that, let's be honest, Poshmark does a lot of free Posh credit. Macari kind of is starting to do credits too. So somebody could have credit on Poshmark and want to buy that item, and they could see it on Macari and be like, oh, I really want to buy it. Oh, but I have Poshmark credit. Oh, I wonder if they have a closet over there. So that's how you can get yourself on all the platforms, right? That's when a Linktree or a Bacon or a Milkshake comes into real handy, because then you can have it in the link. Hey, click on my link. And then there's all your stuff of your platforms that you sell on. So don't be married to one platform. Cross list. Have some fun. Play around with different stuff. Play around with different angles, because guess what? Not only are there different buyers, there are different rules, and there are different algorithms for each one. So you could literally have different sayings, different wording, different pictures, different everything, and it could sell on one platform and not the other. So that is it for today. If you guys want to, you guys can always message me. You can leave in the comments of what exactly you love about the platforms, which ones are your favorite, which ones you hate, some of your experiences, and we will roll it all up into an episode. Yes, that is right. I want to start doing that. So go ahead and leave your comments. You guys can follow me on any of my social medias. It's all Glam on a Budget. You can follow my YouTube, like and subscribe to my podcast, or you can shop my closets, because I do sell on Poshmark, I do sell on Macari, I do sell on Depop, and I do have my own website, glamandbudget.com. So make sure you guys check it out, and hopefully you guys come back for more wisdom, because guess what? I'm going to have lots more to talk about. Have a great day, and remember, keep on flipping on.